Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Wednesday. What a night last night with the rain.
A lot of rain and wind. Hope you didn't have too much flooding or damage. There's a lot of it around. Yeah. And now it's so cool and chilly outside. You're turning on the AC and then the heat.
Yeah, I know.
We're all going to be sick.
It's Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, the weather is what's making news this Wednesday. The National Weather Service has confirmed it was straight line winds and not a tornado in Belleville last night. We'll get an update from Dave Caulfield.
Brendan Dassey is asking for clemency from Governor Tony Evers. Our Rose Schmidt will explain what that could mean.
And President Trump took questions this afternoon about the ongoing impeachment inquiry in Washington. We'll share the latest.
Let's take a look outside today. It's been rainy and cloudy most of the day. The colors are starting to go now. It's starting to look more like fall.
And it's going to feel more like fall as well. A little dry weather ahead. That is some pretty good news. Dana's in the backyard patio, where the rain continues.
With the umbrella. I did have to get the umbrella. It just started sprinkling again. We had some on and off showers over the last few hours. Of course, most of the heavy rainfall coming through last night. Now it seems like more of the heavier rain just starting to enter into the corner of Grant County, that northwest corner and south of La Crosse. Some showers through Janesville and all of Rock County right now. No lightning, though, just rain coming on through as it is quite a bit cooler outside. Of course, in the last 24 hours, we've picked up some significant rainfall totals. Parts of Grant County seeing over 3 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. And, of course, the closer you get up towards Fond du Lac, some areas picking up close to 4.5 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. So quite a system sliding through, and we're just not out of the woods quite yet. Thankfully, right now, we don't have any flood warnings to be concerned about. It's a little cloudy outside, if you haven't noticed. Again, light showers expected through the rest of this evening. We're at about 56 in Madison right now with a little bit of a breeze coming from the northeast. Overall, tonight, plan on a very cool fall-like evening with some drier weather right around the corner, but we'll take a closer look at what is ahead for the next few days in just a few minutes. Right now, as we look at traffic, things are going quite slow right now along the Beltline. Folks, of course, going a little slower due to the wet roads and the isolated showers that keep popping on up. This is the Beltline right at Park Street. Thankfully, no accidents to report at this time, though the eastbound side seeing reduced speeds starting at 151 down to about 20 to 30 miles per hour, stretching all the way towards John Nolan. So I would still add about 5 to 10 minutes onto your evening commute if you have to hit the eastbound side. Same goes with the westbound side. We usually don't see those delays stretching all the way along the westbound side, but the speeds reduced quite a bit. Around Prairie du Sac and Sauk City, no major delays around 12. To get from Janesville to the Beltline will be about 27 minutes and 16 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton and to get from Sun Prairie to downtown on this dreary evening.
All right, we'll check back in just a little while. Thank you, Dana.
And we start with breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this afternoon. In a press release, American Transmission Company said the cause of a substation fire in July was a mechanical failure in the voltage regulation component. In July, a fire at the substation just off East Washington Avenue caused a massive power outage. Downtown Madison was without power for much of the day on the hottest day of the year. A second fire at another substation near campus also started. According to the release, officials say the failure is extremely rare. There's more on this on channel3000.com. Well, straight line winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour are to blame for widespread downed trees and a gas main break in Belleville.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joins us live from Belleville. And Dave, we originally thought the damage was because of a weak tornado. So what's the difference?
Well, Mark and Susan, sometimes when it comes to these borderline storms, it can be a really tough call. It can be sort of unclear whether or not damage is from a tornado or straight line winds. What is clear is crews continue to work on the 200 block of North Park Street here in Belleville. And here's why. Take a look at this massive tree that is still down from the storms last night. Actually, breaking a gas main there. You can actually see where that has broken, and still work being done well after the storms ended last night. Take a look at some of the damage from Tuesday night storms that those storms created. When meteorologists do these storm surveys, they need to take into account a number of factors, including how widespread reports are and the severity of the damage. Ultimately, how the damage was laid out in this case was the biggest factor changing this from a tornado to a straight line wind event.
You're looking how the damage is laid. When you have straight line winds, the wind comes down, hits the ground, and spreads out. And so you have what we call a divergent pattern. The damage spreads out versus a tornado. When it comes through, it kind of tries to lay everything towards the middle of the path of the tornado.
Now, Miller and Dane County officials tore the debris in Belleville this morning, starting with some downed trees near the high school and then moving here to North Park Street. No injuries were reported with all this damage, which is very good news. Now, October tornadoes in Wisconsin, Mark and Susan, are pretty rare, with only 21 tornadoes in the month of October across the Badger States being reported before today. That number is now at 22, because while this is not classified as tornado damage here in Belleville, in Jefferson County, closer to Sullivan, the meteorologists did determine that that damage was caused by an EF1 tornado earlier today.
All right, Dave Caulfield reporting live for us from Belleville. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. As Dave was just mentioning, the National Weather Service was in Fort Atkinson today to confirm those reports of a tornado. Several roads there were blocked off because of storm damage, and much of the damage was reported in the city's south side. Several homes were damaged, and many trees were reported uprooted. 29-year-old Brendan Dassey, whose murder conviction has been followed in the Netflix series Making a Murderer, is looking to Wisconsin's governor to restore his rights or to get his sentence reduced.
But as Rose Schmidt explains, he doesn't meet the criteria, right, Rose?
Today, Brendan Dassey's attorneys filed a 26-page petition with Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers' office. But the chances for a pardon are slim unless Evers amends the rules his office created. Dassey was 16 when he confessed to helping his uncle Stephen Avery murder Teresa Halbach in Manitowoc County. Both are serving life sentences, and their story has been documented in the 2015 Netflix original series Making a Murderer. Today, Dassey's legal team argued that his confession was false and coerced, and he's innocent. They're asking Evers to restore his rights with a pardon or get his sentence reduced with a commutation.
When you have an innocent person sentenced to life behind prison, that's exactly the situation that the clemency power was tailor-made to address. This is a case that federal judges have called a profound miscarriage of justice, and we're calling on Governor Evers to remedy that injustice today.
Evers' office says the criteria to apply for a pardon is a person must have completed their sentence at least 5 years ago, which Dassey has not done. Evers has also said he won't consider granting any commutations. Dassey could also request another trial if new evidence comes to light, but he's not eligible for parole until 2048. Today, Governor Evers' office did not respond to my request for comment, and he refused to take questions at multiple public events in the Madison area, which we had people at. So
we'll continue to follow it. All right, thanks, Rose.
Authorities say speed was a factor in a deadly crash Monday in Dane County that split the car in two. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says a 22-year-old man was found dead inside part of a vehicle in a pond in the town of Medina. Deputies say the man was speeding in a Chevy Cruze when it hit a tree, splitting the car in half. The front part of the car ended up in the pond. Authorities have yet to release the name of the driver.
Wisconsin's suicide prevention hotline is getting more funding after a unanimous vote at the state capitol. The Republican-controlled legislature's budget committee approved a $110,000 annual grant. The vote came a week after a Republican-led effort known as the Suicide Task Force recommended releasing the money. The hotline is based in Kaukauna and provides help to people in crisis by sending text messages.
Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is recovering after a heart procedure. Sanders was hospitalized in Las Vegas yesterday after experiencing chest discomfort at a campaign event. Sanders' campaign says a medical evaluation and testing showed the 78-year-old senator had a blockage in an artery requiring 2 stents.
So when a blockage is discovered in a coronary artery, particularly for a patient who's experiencing symptoms, one of the main goals is to open up that artery and make them feel better. If we don't, there's a risk of a heart attack or heart damage.
Dr. Munoz says most patients are back to their usual activities in about a week. Sanders' campaign says the senator is in good spirits and will be resting up over the next few days.
President Trump is fighting back against an impeachment inquiry, calling it a scam. Nicole Killian has more from the White House.
President Trump struck back at Democrats who are leading an impeachment inquiry into his phone call with Ukraine's president, focusing most of his ire at the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff.
These are bad people. These are dishonest people. And when the American people find out what happened, it's going to be a great day.
The president responded to a report Schiff's committee learned of the whistleblower's complaint before he filed the report.
I think it's a scandal that he knew before. I go a step further. I think he probably helped write it.
Schiff's committee is one of several working on a subpoena to compel the White House to turn over documents related to Ukraine.
We are concerned that the White House will attempt to stonewall our investigation, much as they have stonewalled other committees in the past.
He says if the White House stonewalls the investigation, they will consider it obstruction of justice.
That if they are going to prevent witnesses from coming forward to testify on the allegations in the whistleblower complaint, that will create an adverse inference that those allegations are in fact correct.
Congressman Schiff and other Democrats say Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who listened in on the president's phone call with Ukraine, is trying to prevent State Department personnel from testifying. Pompeo denies the charge and is accusing Democrats of bullying witnesses. Wednesday afternoon, Pompeo's own State Department Inspector General Steve Linick went to Capitol Hill to discuss and provide staff with copies of documents related to the State Department and Ukraine. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
The State Department's Inspector General works independently from the Secretary of State.
The same Dallas jury that convicted former police officer Amber Geiger of murder is now deciding her sentence. Geiger returned to the Dallas courtroom one day after being found guilty of murdering her unarmed neighbor, Botham Jean. Geiger faces between 5 years to life in prison for fatally shooting her 26-year-old neighbor. Jean's mother, Allison, described the sadness of losing the middle child she raised in a close family in St. Lucia.
It's just been like a roller coaster. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat.
The jury convicted the former police officer of murder after deliberating for less than 7 hours. In Texas, the penalty for first-degree murder could be anywhere from 5 to 99 years in prison.
A vintage World War II-era plane crashed at Connecticut's Bradley Airport. Just 5 minutes into the flight, the pilot reported a problem. Airport officials say the bomber slammed into a maintenance facility on the ground. 13 people were on board, 10 passengers and 3 crew members. Police confirmed there are fatalities but would not give specifics. A person on the ground was also injured. The B-17 was one of only 18 in the country.
When we come back, Food Fight's newest restaurant is inspired by the head chef's Italian hometown.
Our tastemaker checks out Bar Corallini and talks with the head chef when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Will Smith is heading back to his Fresh Prince of Bel-Air roots with the threads to match. His new clothing and accessory line is called Bel-Air Athletics, inspired by his 90s sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The 26-piece collection is a nod to Bel-Air Academy, the prep school that his character went to on the show. Bel-Air Athletics will be available on Smith's online shop through October 14th. Well, Americans pay some of the highest health care costs in the world.
And many people are getting hit with shocking hospital bills for thousands of dollars. Molly McKenna says her medical and financial trouble began earlier this year with excruciating abdominal pain. She went to the Baylor Scott & White Clinic and then transferred by ambulance to another facility where she needed emergency surgery for a hemorrhaging ovary. But a few weeks later, she was told she was out of network.
I said, out of network? What does that mean for my surgery that I just had? And she said, it's looking like the balance from our facilities is up around $40,000.
$40,000?
Yeah. Yes.
What's your understanding of why the rate was what it was, the price?
Because there is no guideline. There is no transparency. They can charge whatever they want. So she basically got taken advantage of.
McKenna negotiated some bills down, but Baylor Scott & White still demanded $27,000 more. To avoid high fees in emergency situations, experts suggest know which hospitals close to you are in your insurance network. If it's not life-threatening, consider a cheaper urgent care center. And if you wind up in the ER, ask if the doctors treating you are in your network. Well, stocks are down sharply for a second day in a row over concerns about jobs and manufacturing, due in part to trade tariffs. The Dow Industrials plunged 494 points, ending the day at 26,078. The Nasdaq fell 123. The S&P 500 was off 52. Well, Food Fight's newest restaurant is inspired by the head chef's Italian hometown.
Bar Corallini offers Italian fare based on Chef Giovanni Novella's hometown in Naples, Italy. Madison Magazine's Andrea Bailing checked it out for this month's Tastemaker segment.
So I come from a small town between Naples and Sorrento. The town is named Torre del Greco. So the people from Torre del Greco are very famous for the work with the coral. So they make cameo, they make coral jewelry, and they call, it's kind of like a nickname for the people who live there, called Corallini. Okay. So it's kind of like for people from here called Cheesehead, and they call us Corallini because we work with the coral, and we are really successful and famous for the work of the coral. So over here we have a spicy salami, soppressata, prosciutto di Parma. We have a grilled zucchini, grilled eggplant, a roasted pepper, marinated artichokes. We have some fresh ricotta with the sea salt. We have a cherry tomato marinated in pesto and some fresh stracciatella and some grilled ciabatta bread.
Oh, yum. So this is one you can just kind of like pick it up and mix and match?
Yeah, this is the one I really love it because you can kind of grab a piece of bread and you make your own bite. You know what I mean? Like you make your favorite bite.
And what is this here?
We have a tagliatelle alla bolognese, so homemade noodles. We make fresh noodles here every day. So tagliatelle noodles. I'd like to do like 8-hour cooked bolognese. So I do like half beef, half pork, celery, carrots, onion, tomato sauce, some Marzano from Italy. Cook it down for 8 hours, very slow, low and slow.
8 hours?
Yes, I do. So the first thing we do when you come in the morning, we start the sauce. We start the tomato sauce, the bolognese sauce, the Genovese sauce, all sauce for the service at night. Fresh ricotta, a little bit of toasted breadcrumbs, Parmigiano.
Oh, yum. And this here?
Here we have the pizza.
Wood-fired?
Coming from Naples, like, pizza is something that I really love to make and I love to do. So these are one of my favorite pizza either. So we have a burrata and pomodorini pizza. So we start with a pizza crust that is fermented for 4 to 5 days. So it kind of develop nice flavor, like almost like a sourdough crust. Okay. So we bake in a Neapolitan-style pizza oven.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah,
it comes from Naples.
It comes from Naples, yeah. We assemble it here. It was kind of like a journey to bring it over, but
was it?
Yeah, but so we made it.
They're not light at any.
Yeah, they're not light. It's a huge box,
Yeah. And you said your parents also run a cheese shop back in your hometown?
Yeah, so I have a family member that run a cheese shop, and I love cheese.
You do?
This is why I make mozzarella. I make.
Yeah, you hand pull that every day, right?
Yeah, I make some ricotta. It's something I love to do. It kind of relax me when I do it. Yeah. Kind of make me think about them. I really enjoyed it. So.
Well, thank you so much for having us in.
Yeah,
And
of course.
this
It's a
place
pleasure.
is gorgeous, and you guys have a really cool thing here. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's cruel.
We're starving now.
It
That
is.
was
Show that. It
wonderful.
looks so good.
Oh, it's one of my new favorite places. And Chef Giovanni Novella, he's so inspired, and the whole restaurant was inspired by his hometown, Torre del Greco. He had, input in what even the layout of the kitchen. He, developed this whole new menu that really means a lot to him, and that shows.
Yeah, the passion is there.
Yeah, it is, and it's just delicious.
Now,
food.
where on what avenue is it?
It's in the former chocolatierian space.
Okay.
So after the fire, Food Fight took it over, and they renovated the whole space, and they did a beautiful job of that build out.
Another great Italian restaurant in Madison. We're spoiled.
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, looks delicious.
Yes.
Thank you, Andy.
Yep, thank you.
We'll stay with it. There's more at 4, including an updated look at your first alert forecast.
And then coming up tonight at 5, businesses near Verona Road have more to celebrate as construction workers celebrate another milestone. That's coming up tonight at 5.
Well, take a look at this. There's no such thing as bad publicity. That seems to be the thinking behind this Halloween season real estate listing in Michigan, which features Ghostface from the movie Scream haunting the available property. This is Ghostface there. The idea was hatched by a listing agent who told the local media he did it to generate more views. The plan worked. The Lansing listing had thousands of views in a matter of days. The 4-bedroom property is listed for $105,000. And even if you aren't interested, take a look at the listing. It's a scream.
That's funny.
It's very clever.
It's very creative, although it would have had the opposite reaction with me, I think. Like, I will pass on this.
No,
thank you.
Not going into that house. I don't think the scream is included.
Beautiful house.
No.
Yeah, it is for $105,000.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Deal.
It's very nice. We're hoping there were ghosts in our house. Not the case.
No.
No. A little spooky outside.
You don't
though.
know yet.
Yeah.
It's not Halloween yet.
We're ready. We're almost there. It's finally starting to feel like fall outside, though. It's a little cloudy right now. Some light rainfall in Madison. We're looking at some more showers sliding through tonight. We'll take a closer look at that next dry spell right after the break. Mostly cloudy right now with some light showers in Madison. Thankfully, no heavy rainfall and no lightning, but it is just a little dreary outside, a little cool at about 56 in Madison. With that rain, feels just a little chilly outside. Looking at our Doppler track again, you can see those light showers currently mostly along the eastern edge of Dane County and in the southwest corner of Grant County right now, stretching up towards the Dells and Camp Douglas. We do have a little heavier rainfall, it looks like, just outside of Black River Falls. But there's going to be some isolated heavy rainfall at times this evening, but most of us already picked up quite enough rain. This main band sliding through southern Wisconsin, bringing heavy showers for some areas outside of Platteville, over 3 inches in the last 24 hours. Just outside of Madison, we have some spots over 2 inches of rainfall. So do know that we are still dealing with some isolated flooding concerns. As far as those rainfall totals, the official ones from our National Weather Service, in the last 48 hours, almost 6 inches of rain in Beaver Dam and Lodi, over 4.5 inches, just over 4 inches in Sauk City and Forest, almost 4 inches of rain. As you can see, those totals quite a bit higher than what we would like to see, and really they're already exceeding what we should see for the entire month of October. picking up that much rainfall in just about 31 hours for us. Right now, this cold front is to the south. This first area of low pressure is going to continue to travel east. Our second area of low pressure bringing showers right now into Iowa and southern Wisconsin. Once that finally passes on through in the trailing trough, we'll get a drying sky for late on Thursday and a little drier weather for Friday as well. Hopefully some sunshine for parts of late Thursday, but at least for Friday, we'll definitely get that sun back on in. So through the rest of the evening and overnight, plan on showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two overnight with some areas of fog forming by early Thursday morning. Thursday, a mostly cloudy sky with some clearing possible late in the day, though not planning on a lot of sunshine to come on through. Overnight temperatures will hold pretty steady in the 50s. Really not expecting them to fall too much in the low 50s for our overnight lows. Again, with that mostly cloudy sky, a lot of the heavier rain tonight will stay to the north, but not ruling out the chance for a few isolated heavier showers and thunderstorms to pass on through. The rain clears out early Thursday, and by Thursday afternoon, we start to see a little bit of a breakup in the cloud coverage. Temperatures will be in the 50s for afternoon highs on Thursday. By Friday morning, we'll fall to the low 40s for overnight lows, and Black River Falls, it looks like we could be getting a little close to the mid to low 30s. So a cool start to the day. And then for Friday afternoon, a partly sunny sky with temperatures in the middle 50s for our afternoon highs. Again, for October, we've already picked up above average for our precipitation totals. Usually in October, we see just under 2.5 inches of rain, and we've already picked up over 3 inches of rainfall on the first, picking up just enough to make us through the month. Overnight low of about 53 tomorrow morning. So again, not falling much overnight. Planning on a mostly cloudy sky. Some areas of fog possible early in the morning as those temperatures will fall close to our dew points. Scattered showers expected with potentially a few isolated thunderstorms. Our breeze anywhere from 6 to 12 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little windier outside from 10 to 20 miles per hour. Some wind gusts could get into the lower 20s. Some afternoon sun possible. We're not really banking on that sunshine coming through. Afternoon highs in the upper 50s, so very seasonable day. Upper 50s on Friday as well with a partly sunny sky. Our next chance for showers after that brief dry spell builds in late on Friday night into Saturday. Saturday, we're looking at scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures will stay close to 60 through the weekend, and thankfully, for the second half of the weekend and the start of next week, we'll have quite a little dry break there, and we will certainly need that time with some sunshine too to help dry things out, because right now we're kind of at max capacity for rivers and lakes in our watershed. So to have several days in a row with dry weather and with the sun to help with evaporation will be very key into the start of next week. But notice those temperatures too. They are finally starting to drop off. It's going to be a little cool.
No more 80s.
No more 80s. Overnight lows too falling quite a bit. So that's when early in the morning when it gets a little crisp outside, you'll start to notice it.
Had to grab a jacket this morning to take the dogs out.
Yes,
it's coming.
Yes. It's coming. It's almost here, but it feels like fall, which I'm okay with.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too. All right, Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
A British newspaper is defending itself after Prince Harry and his wife Meghan announced legal action against the tabloid.
It published a letter that Meghan wrote to her estranged father. Harry also lashed out at the British press for its treatment of Meghan.
This comes as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex wrap up their African tour. Deborah Pata is in Johannesburg, South Africa, with more on this story.
The timing of the legal action comes as a surprise after a 10-day African tour generated a lot of positive publicity, according to royal correspondent Roya Nika.
It throws a cloud over the last day of what was a really, really successful trip for the couple here in Africa.
In a stinging reproach to the media, Prince Harry said that they are suing the tabloid Mail on Sunday for publishing private correspondence from the Duchess of Sussex. There is a human cost to this relentless propaganda. I cannot begin to describe how painful it has been. Earlier this year, the tabloid newspaper published an article about a handwritten letter that Meghan had sent to her estranged father, Thomas Markle. Harry has accused the paper of editing the letter selectively in an intentionally misleading and destructive way, indicating the anger and turmoil he suffered when his mother, Princess Diana, died in a car crash after being pursued by the paparazzi. Harry stated, "My deepest fear is history repeating itself. I've seen what happens when someone I love is commoditized to the point that they are no longer treated or seen as a real person. I lost my mother, and now I watch my wife falling victim to the same powerful forces."
We've had guidance from the palace that the statement itself was all Harry's own words.
Even before they were married, Harry accused some newspapers and social media commentators of racist and sexist reporting of his relationship with then-girlfriend Meghan. And just yesterday, relationships with the press grew tense shortly after Harry was asked a seemingly harmless question by a journalist while leaving an official engagement.
Prince Harry's biographer says she understands why he wants to protect his wife, but added, this seems like an overly emotional and ill-advised outburst. It's now up to a London court to decide if that is indeed the case. Deborah Patter, CBS News, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Always under the spotlight. All right, there's more to come at 4. Do you hate paying ATM fees?
Well, bad news. Those fees are going up. We'll have more on that when Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look at downtown Madison from our Edgewater Skycam. Another rainy, gray day.
Just as another rainy.
Another rainy.
That's exactly what it is.
It is. Well, millions of Americans use the ATM every day.
But some may be paying more for the privilege. Hillary Lane explains.
Getting cash is getting more expensive. Naima Hicks found that out when she got hit with 2 fees for using an ATM out of her bank's network.
They double charge you for things, so I don't understand why, but that's what they do.
New research from Bankrate.com shows customers who venture out of network pay an average charge of $3 to the owner of the ATM. Then the bank adds an average fee of $1.63. That total of $4.72 is up from just $2 in 1998.
ATM fees are at a record high.
Bank rates Greg McBride says when you withdraw money, you also need to be very careful not to take too much. Overdraft fees are close to record highs at $33.36. The good news is that added charge can easily be avoided.
Your best line of defense, set up a link between your checking account and your savings account. That way, if you do slip up, it's your money that covers the shortfall.
Most banks also have apps with an ATM finder feature, something Elliot Upton takes advantage of.
I refuse to pay a fee, so I make it my business to find an ATM that I can use without a charge.
Experts say a little planning ahead can help you get cash without paying for it. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
And some banks will waive or reimburse some part of the out-of-pocket fee, but not all of them. So you have to be very careful.
I will not pay a fee.
I don't like to do that either, but sometimes you don't have a choice.
No, you don't. And I still call them time machines. Tells you what I know. All right, when we come back, we'll continue right after this.
No accidents to report right now. However, things are going just a little slow along the Beltline on the east and westbound side, likely due to the wet roads right now and, of course, the rain. Folks, slow down just a little more in the rain. Not saying that's a bad thing. Don't want anybody driving if they're not feeling uncomfortable right now because of the slick roads. On the eastbound side, speeds down actually to the teens from 151 all the way through John Nolan. And on the westbound side, we're seeing those delays from John Nolan past Fish Hatchery Road. Usually we don't see that long of a stretch on the westbound side. So if you are traveling east or westbound, certainly would add an extra 5 to 10 minutes on your commute. Things going just a little slower than usual. Heading into Sauk City on 12, again, that's down to just one lane. So we're seeing a little backup into Sauk City, but then once you get through, things look just fine. From Janesville to the Beltline will be a 28-minute drive, 17 minutes from Sauk City to Middleton, and then drive from Sun Prairie to downtown a little longer than usual, about 21 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. The Tennessee Aquarium is getting into the Halloween spirit with some underwater pumpkin carving. Kraken is a mythical sea monster with tentacles, and he came to life today at the aquarium's River Journey exhibit. Kraken was there for Oddtober. That's when costume scuba divers begin carving jack-o'-lanterns underwater. Kind of cool.
That is kind of neat to see.
The 53rd Annual World Dairy Expo is underway right now in Madison.
Thousands of people from all over the world are in town to attend the 5-day expo at a critical time for the dairy industry. Farm Director Pam Yankee joins us live from the Alliant Energy Center. Hi, Pam.
Hi, guys. Yeah, we're just getting ready to wrap up the trade show for today. The show closes officially at 5 o'clock because tonight here at the Expo, we're recognizing some of our outstanding dairy leaders from around the world, and I'm happy to say that we've got 2 Wisconsinites. Janina Siemers from up by Manitowoc that is picking up Dairy Woman of the Year, and then Dr. Randy Shaver, one of our dairy scientists from UW-Madison, the Industry Person of the Year. Speaking of some of those leaders, I want to recognize one of the guys that's been getting a lot of questions on what you talked about earlier, and that is it's not a real fun time to be in the dairy industry, no matter your size or your scope. Chad Vinson is the CEO of Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. Now remember, that is the group that manages the money that our dairy farm families contribute on their milk checks every month for promotion, for research, for education. And Chad, you get that question a lot. It's not fun right now. What are you doing with my money? When are things going to get better?
Absolutely, and we manage it down to the nickel, right? Because every nickel matters. We've moved from analog advertising and communications into a digital world. So we've hired world-class experts to make sure that we can target the messaging, get the messaging about building trust in farmers and building trust and demand for Wisconsin cheese to the right people for the most cost-effective manner online.
Yeah, and the thing is, these consumers are hungry for information they can trust. And Wisconsin, we're not just people know us as America's Dairyland already. You guys are trying to ump the ante and make us about quality.
Yeah, really, because when you talk to people around the country and around the globe even, it's like they know that Wisconsin means cheese, but we're trying to make it so when they think of Wisconsin, they think of the best cheese in the world because that helps raise, the commodity to the specialty. It raises everybody's level.
The thing about World Dairy Expo too, folks, is we've got people from all across the United States, all around the world. Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin is so unique. We've had a lot of farms come past the booth today and say, we're so jealous of what Wisconsin's got.
Right. I mean, we really are one of the preeminent checkoff promotion programs in the land. It requires talent, but really what it comes down to is the infrastructure within all of Wisconsin dairy and the 8,000 farms. We have in June we have 70 farm breakfasts. In Michigan they have 1. Right? I mean, the infrastructure is here, and we have the talent, and really it's about building the messaging and building trust and sales for our dairy products and dairy farmers in Wisconsin.
Now, don't get him wrong. It's not like he's got his head in the sand and it's just Wisconsin, because everybody in the dairy industry is talking about the challenges we're all facing. You're networked with all the industry, especially at a meeting like this.
Absolutely. We work very closely with all the national groups as well. But we focus a lot on Wisconsin. But what we bring is we bring the strategic side, and we bring a lot of the expertise that we get from Wisconsin to help raise the level of water for everybody.
Right. Like I said, Chad Vinson, CEO of Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, they're here with their whole staff, helping Wisconsin dairy farmers understand where that money is ending up. It's not a good time to be a dairy farmer anywhere across the countryside. There's nobody here from around the world that's happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. And there's been a lot of dust up about the future of dairy. But like I said, when it comes to what Wisconsin is doing to position itself and continue to maintain itself as America's dairyland, it's a good story that I can, thank goodness, guys, can continue to tell. Me and my little scooter out here at Dairy Expo, we had all that rain last night, had some exhibitors that got washed out literally in one of our tents. So it's it's good to find a good news story, if you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
it is. And it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a month and a half or so.
I know. It's killing me, guys. You have no idea. But I want to thank the Channel 3 viewers that have been here at the show, and they all want to know how my foot's doing and all that kind of stuff. Soon as I'm able to drive people, I'm right back at you.
Yeah, so you had minor foot surgery, but it's been a little bit of a prolonged recovery, right, Pam?
Well, who knew? Who knew this little maintenance was going to be such a wrinkle in my schedule? But we'll be back with you guys soon.
All right, great to see you again. And everybody head out to the World Dairy Expo. It's a great show. $12 to get in, right?
Yeah, $12, and it finishes off Sunday at about 6 with the Supreme Champion.
All right. Thank you, Pam, for that report.
Thank you, Pam. Good to see you.
We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Dana's back. Some rain, but nothing like last night.
Nothing like last night. We actually just confirmed from the National Weather Service an EF0 tornado in Fort Atkinson last night. Right now, though, the straight line wind damage over towards Sullivan and the rest of the area just dealing with flooding. This is our Doppler track over the last 3 hours. Those showers mainly north of Madison towards the Dells is where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall right now. South of Janesville and Rock County also has some heavy showers, but no lightning currently. The heavy rain that passed through last night, thankfully, will not be returning for us overnight, though we will pick up just a little more showers. Overall, in Beaver Dam, almost 6 inches of rain, in Lodi, over 5.5 or 4.5 inches of rain, and of course in Madison just about 3.25 inches in the last 48 hours. So we have picked up enough in the last 48 hours to last the entire month. Unfortunately, we're only into day 2 in October, so we will see how the rest of the month goes. Right now it's cloudy with some light showers around Madison. Temperature-wise, it's pretty cool outside. In the mid-50s, about 56 with a breeze from the northeast. That breeze makes it feel just a little chillier for this evening. I would keep the umbrella on hand, but again, no major flood concerns with the showers coming through tonight.
That's good news.
Yeah,
yes.
it is.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll meet the author of the book about Ed Garvey, Unvarnished Lessons from a Visionary.
And veterinarian Carrie Donahue will take your calls, and she'll talk about pets and CBD oil. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. Look at that face. final touch, soft but strong.
That's what you look for when your wedding dress is made out of toilet